I recently watched a documentary about the Sabbath Journey Films created. I ran across an old interview with Judith Shulevitz, who was one of the people featured in the documentary. One of the things she stated was, if I believed in God, I guess that would be a way of orienting myself to God. The person conducting the interview said, so just to get this straight, you don't believe in God, but you do observe the Sabbath and go to synagogue on Saturdays. Her answer is that is correct. Sabbath Gift Info has this piece on their website. It appears to blame the stress people have on consumerism. And consumerism says money is in happiness and things. He goes on to tell us what he says Mark 2:28 says, which is that Sabbath was made to meet the needs of people. I think we're all familiar with the Abrahamic Family House, which is an interfaith collaboration between Christians, Muslims, and Jews. I listened to a number of interviews with the person who created this documentary, and he stated over and over he believes there is so much good ground for interfaith dialogue in the Sabbath. Islam does not believe that God needs a day of rest, but they have their Juma prayers on Friday. The creation story in Islam is said to have Adam being created on Friday, the fall happening on Friday, and when God returns, it will be on a Friday. They also do social service projects on Friday. For these reasons, the documentary indicated the Sabbath for Muslims would be Friday. The documentary pointed out the Jews have their Sabbath from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. A large portion of the documentary focused on the Seventh Day Adventist Church. They have their Sabbath on Saturday. In the interviews I listened to, it discussed the health benefits of the Seventh Day Adventists. The majority of them are vegetarians, they don't drink, and they don't smoke. A portion of the sermon preached in the documentary said, if we keep the Sabbath the way God intended by practicing righteousness, justice, and compassion toward those most in need, the Bible helps us understand how we will experience the blessings of the Sabbath. They said Jesus performed miracles on the Sabbath, so they launched a community health clinic which opened on the Sabbath. The majority of the Christians associate with Sunday as being the day of worship. I wanted to look at what the Bible says about the Sabbath. The Bible says the Sabbath is a sign between you and God. One of the definitions of sign is a distinguishing mark. The Catholic Church says the change is a mark on her ecclesiastical authority. A large focus of this movement is on the land, saying Sabbath is not just for us, but it's also to heal the planet. They said it's not just us who needs a rest, the earth needs a rest from us. A lot of discussion was on the Shemitah. You would have to have times where you do not grow any food. There was a community focus on this. You open the land freely for others to take what they need. Romans 1 says, professing to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like corruptible man, and birds and four-footed animals and creeping things. Verse 25 says they exchanged the truth of God for a lie and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator. The meanings for worship in this instance means to fear or to honor religiously. Exodus 31:17 says, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. Exodus 31:13, Verily my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know I am the Lord that does sanctify you. From the Catholic Record, September 1st, 1923, the Church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance from Saturday to Sunday is proof positive of that fact. The Sunday Visitor, February 5th, 1950. Practically everything Protestants regard as essential or important they received from the Catholic Church. They accepted Sunday rather than Saturday as the day for public worship after the Catholic Church made that change. They accepted the Bible from the Catholic Church as genuine, authentic, as inspired, solely on the authority of the Catholic Church. They observe Christmas as the day assigned to it by the Catholic Church. They accept the date for Easter observance from the Church. But the Protestant mind does not seem to realize that in accepting the Bible and observing the Sunday, in keeping Christmas and Easter, they are accepting the authority of the spokesperson of the Church, the Pope. Deuteronomy 8:2 says God tested his people to see whether they would keep his commandments. Of the 10 commandments, it's the only one that says remember. As calls for an environmental Sabbath increase, I would suggest we look at the Bible to make sure we aren't worshiping the creature rather than the Creator, and remembering the Sabbath for what it is, what it truly is.